Hey, how you doing? Well,
Hi.
I'm going like move the other rags.
Yeah, I couldn't get the app to work. I don't know why it doesn't work on my computer. I'm sorry.
That's
We
annoying.
have
It's just
we have
technology
to
though.
insist. I
It's
know.
technology is so infuriating because the thing is though, is that technology we should be so able to control all this stuff.
I know. I know. It's also like, we should be also grateful that it exists at all, but it's just when it doesn't work, it's like, ugh.
It's like when it doesn't work, it's like interrupts the flow of everything.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
No, but the thing is though, is that it's not our fault. It's just the fact that the thing is though, is that we forget that technology sometimes has days where it decides not to work. Really.
It's true. Definitely my technology.
Yeah, my
Oh
technology
man.
as well. I think it's a bit like my brain. Sometimes my brain goes on strike. It's like, right, okay.
Same.
So you're gonna have days where it's like I could be really on it and really bright and together, and then it'd be just like, uh, like
Yeah.
kind of kicking a dead cat across the road, sort of. Yeah.
Totally. I know the feeling.
But how's lockdown been for you? Has it been?
I mean, bad like everyone, but I kind of I've been quite enjoying not traveling all the time. That's been
Mm,
kind of a nice like I mean it's not 100% nice, but I like feel grateful that I can at least find some positive there because a lot of people like lost their jobs and having a really awful time right now, and I'm actually at least able to enjoy being at home because I don't remember a time that I've spent this long in one place in about 10 years. So
well, yeah. Well, to be honest, when you're
yeah.
on the move in between, switching in between kind of projects, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just kind of constant touring, even if not touring, then writing album stuff and working or whatever. And right now I'm not because I haven't been working a job. I've just been doing music for the last few years, so which has been amazing. But yeah, now I find myself at home just like, ooh. um,
Like kind of twiddling your thumbs, sort of thing.
I mean, no, I don't. I never get to that stage really. Um, I there's too many things I enjoy doing that I don't really ever get bored. I mean, I get like down and just like can't motivate myself to do anything, but
Yeah,
I uh, I'm not like hyperactive enough to get bored, if you know what I mean. Like I'm just like lazy.
yeah,
I just chill and I'll play video games and read books. But I've also been making music, like been making music on my own, been doing stuff remotely with my other band members with shopping, and luckily with Sacred Paws, Ailey lives literally I can see her window from my house.
wow,
So we have been practicing or jamming a little bit um, when we're able and writing some songs and yeah, so I've been all right really.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. Because I mean, like, I also like I'd say that it's definitely been like it's definitely been an interesting period from my perspective. Because like, especially walking through a big city
Yeah.
and hearing absolutely nothing for about 3 weeks. You know,
So weird.
it was sort of
Yeah.
strange, but then also at the same time, it made me take notice of some of the beauty, like of actually, seeing nature reclaiming
Oh,
certain
that's
parts of the
nice.
city.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like kind of like I'd be going like on walks in local parks, and I'd be like at a bat watch,
Yeah.
especially.
Oh
Like,
wow, bats.
yeah, oh, yeah.
I saw a lot of bats this summer actually, more than I feel I've ever seen.
And I think
That's
that's
really nice.
well, I think that also that's partly that nature because of because of like we took a back step for quite a while. The nature
Yeah,
did take over to a certain extent,
that's cool. Yeah.
and
That's one tiny positive.
but then like also like doing things like this has helped me.
Yeah.
I found
Yeah.
one of the things which I guess I struggled with this, like finding a new structure,
Uh-huh.
but then kind of having things like this, like conversations like this, but then also having like a friend of mine who's a professional life model. She was doing like life modeling groups over Zoom, so it's like kind of
Oh
right, okay,
wow.
gave me little bits of structure.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So
Yeah,
like,
I am really bad with structure. I don't, I think because of the touring thing, like I'm just like, what is structure? What? What is that? Routine? What is that? Um, so that's been definitely weird. I think you definitely, as a touring musician, not touring anymore, you definitely discover how dysfunctional you are as a person when
yeah,
you're suddenly when you're suddenly not able to go on tour. It's like, uh-oh, I
uh,
don't know how to remember to like do my laundry, and
yeah.
I don't know how to socialize
But
because
I struggle with
there's no
that.
gigs. Yeah.
But I struggle with the lot. That's the reason why I have a support worker. Is 'cause
Yeah, yeah.
she helps me like if I really struggle. 'Cause, like things that people will see me and they'll see like this big outgoing sort of person. But
Uh-huh.
in reality, I really struggle sometimes doing some of the basics and looking after myself.
Yeah.
So that means so I have a support worker who comes around like kind of twice a week, and she helps me with
That's great.
like keeping the upkeep of the flat, like kind of like helping me with washing up, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
like kind of helping me with stuff like laundry and stuff like that.
Yes.
We
Oh
take
my God, the never ending laundry.
exactly to
Why does it just never end?
well, yeah, because of, like you're constantly going like, oh, this is clean. I'm going to be wearing this today, but then like a few days later, it'll be like, no, that's squatty and dirty.
I saw a really good tweet that was like, being an adult is just saying, I need to put a wash on forever until you die.
Well, it's kind of partly true. I've actually found my adulthood to be kind of like actually full of more weird adventures than my teenagerhood.
That's that's so nice. That's really good.
Because actually, you saw me on like inadvertently, like when 'cause we came down to the Edinburgh Film Festival, like
Yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
film's being screened like the following morning, and
Yeah.
that was possibly one of my strangest weekend experiences.
Yeah,
Not
what an adventure.
yeah, because also it was like kind of I remember hanging out in like the late night bar, and it was like kind of I felt really awkward because it was some I'm used to like semi-successful musicians kind of spotting, but
Yeah.
when in a room full of like almost Hollywood A-listers sort of thing, I'd be like, I was like, okay, this is this is really awkward. I was like,
It's like the next level, yeah.
it, it would be like, oh look, there's Toby Jones there, there's Stanley Tucci, there's Kevin Bacon, and like all the production crews and everything, and then it'd be,
Yeah,
um, but these guys were playing like they were DJing, basically playing lots of old '80s indie music, so like Talking Heads, and especially
that's cool.
and it's like really weird because Matt Johnson from the There was sat on the table opposite the decks, but I, I
Wild.
I did my usual thing of like of course, what happens at that point is if I get really, really anxious, is I'll go and fixate on the thing which helps, which makes me feel at ease. It's like right in front of the DJ decks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's a good. I do that at parties. I think it's always nice to when you don't want to talk to anyone, you can always just dance.
Yeah, but I do that at a lot of gigs. So I think
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
generally my whole thing has been like kind of right, okay, go and get a drink, and then probably go and find like the space where I'm going to be the most comfortable.
yeah.
You know,
That's so nice what you said about adventure. I really like that. Do you find, because I think one another thing I'm about lockdown that has been interesting for me is I find like my memory is really, like we were saying earlier, my memory is really bad.
mm.
Um, but I have been like enjoying being like, whoa, okay, I have a break now. I've done so much stuff. When you have a moment to like reflect is kind of cool to be like, oh, there's stuff I've done I'm really proud of. But sometimes like I do so much that I don't even stop and think about it,
Yeah,
you
I,
know?
I I agree with you. I think that it's been a bit the same with me really. Is if
Yeah.
but then there's also like as if in I'm not always. I guess it's difficult because it's like taking because like you can take pride in the stuff you do, but it's like knowing how to tell other people that you're proud of like
Yeah.
that you've
Yeah. Well, maybe you don't need to though. I don't know. For me, it's more like I need to tell myself that because that then stops the voice in my head that's like, "What are you doing? You haven't done any work today." Like
done.
the self-critical kind of like overachiever voice.
That very
Um,
that very much happens with me as well.
yeah.
Mine kind of like comes out as like kind of I guess a fear of being arrogant.
Yeah. That's very sort of British thing though, isn't it?
Well, it is, but then I think it's a thing which is in a lot of people's heads. I think is they have a fear of like kind of I guess almost overstepping the mark in some ways.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Like the tall poppy or whatever. What's that saying? I can't remember. Something about flowers growing too tall and then getting chopped off.
Yeah. Well,
I think it, I think it's not very helpful if you're not a very self-conscious, if you're not a very self-confident person anyway. It's
mm,
not very helpful for people to say stuff like that because you need to believe in yourself and like a little bit of arrogance goes a long way. I don't know. I'm not great at it either, but
well, I
so
think
I feel like sometimes it is a bit of a British thing. If you talk to Americans, they're
yeah.
much better at talking themselves up, and there's no one thinks it's weird.
I think it is a kind of like it is definitely like a cultural. There's definitely
Yeah.
like it's reflected in like if you're brought up with like a whole attitude that you believe that you can be better than everyone else, then you're gonna have that. You're gonna have that passionate. You're gonna have that brash kind of like yeah sort of thing.
Maybe. I
Maybe,
think that's a little harsh, but
maybe but maybe I'm generalizing. You know, because obviously like
maybe the colonizers, but
yeah
they're Europeans anyway.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I know. I just think it's more of a culture of like openly saying like I'm proud of a thing that I've done, and like that's if you say that in the UK, it's like, oh, what's wrong with that person?
I think it
You
is.
say that in America, it's like not. And I think maybe in other European countries, people are just a bit more like comfortable talking about themselves, maybe.
Mm, yeah, I think that's the thing. I think it is definitely like a kind of. I think it is like a bit of a stiff upper lipness maybe thing in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
country sort of thing. And I
Oh
mean,
my God, yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, but also the other thing I was going to say, so it's due to because like obviously like, this year I originally had quite a lot of stuff planned on. Like,
Yeah.
would have been my first time coming out to the States. Would have been
Oh, you were going to South by Southwest, weren't you? Yeah. I remember that because I remember kind of following you deciding whether or not you were going to go.
yeah.
And it was alongside with us deciding whether or not we were going to go as well. And everyone was in that same boat. And we were very much in denial about it, I
Mm,
think. When I look back, we were in denial about COVID
yeah.
completely because we were just on tour doing our thing,
And,
not taking anything seriously. Because I think when you're on tour, you are in this slight bubble of like nothing is real. I just drive around and play my music. Um,
or you don't have like you don't always have a grasp. I mean, like especially like
mm,
I didn't really even have a grasp as to actually how life affecting that this would be. So I thought, right, okay,
yeah,
kind of,
I just wasn't thinking like. I also don't think. Yeah, there was a point where we all suddenly realized it was like very irresponsible for us to be on tour, like asking people to congregate in big groups. We're like, oh, okay, this is
yeah.
really serious and we shouldn't be doing this. Let's go home. But like, yeah, I don't, it really kind of like, I feel a little bit embarrassed that it took us a while for that to catch up to us. But I think also that has to do with the UK government not putting messaging out that was straightforward and that
Yeah,
was as alarming as it needed to be.
yeah. I mean, like,
Because if they had, we wouldn't have gone on that tour. We wouldn't have left. So, but
yeah.
yeah, I it's sad that you didn't get to go to South by.
No, but then I'll probably get. There might be a time in the future when
Yeah,
but
yeah, that would be great.
another thing which was due to happen was I was due to have a solo art exhibition in
Oh,
Bristol. I was due to have my first art exhibition, and I had the painting of that I did of like of obviously of shopping.
oh yeah,
I did a few years ago, and
wow,
that's in the process of being scanned and framed at the moment.
amazing. That's so exciting.
Making prints of it, I think.
Yeah, so that wow, Prince. That's so cool. I can't wait to see it. Did you was that exhibition going to have your drawings in the ones that you do at shows as well?
God, that wouldn't have enough of space. Jesus Christ.
I know, but that's why I want to see them all together.
I'd probably need a warehouse, to be honest.
No, but that would be such a cool like installation. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
no,
Yes,
I mean,
please.
they'll get shown at some point, but I think it's just that because I've did like over 70 or 80 like kind of oil
Wow,
paintings and like kind of I've also been using this time to be like really prolifically creative.
that's
But
amazing.
then that's partly because like that's how my brain sometimes processes things.
Right, yeah.
Emotions is like okay, if I'm feeling something, then I have to kind of get it out. You know, either paint or like kind of
Yeah, yeah.
be
I think
creative.
that's so cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I think through that, I've had so many amazing opportunities.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's really great.
and I
Yeah,
found,
I've been thinking about that definitely through like lockdown. It's weird to have no like nothing impeding you in terms of like what you can create except for your own brain.
mm,
like sometimes I have been feeling extremely unmotivated, I'm not gonna lie. Like just
yeah,
especially at the beginning of lockdown, I just didn't want to do anything. And I didn't, and I was fine with it. But I'm kind of I'm into exploring like what happens if I just like do everything
yeah,
that I want to do and not worry about, because I think there is a certain um this is gonna sound weird, but I think like a fear of like making too much
mm,
sometimes, because I know I'm in lots of different bands and I'm like I don't want to overwhelm people with music and be like, "Ugh," you know, it's like it's again that fear of sort of being arrogant and being like, look at me,
yeah,
I've done all this stuff. But if I'm honest, I love creating stuff all the time, so that's just what I'm gonna do. And it's then just you, like you said, like you limit what you show people. It's like, well, you would need a warehouse to exhibit all of your of your drawings. It's like, well, yeah, I have a lot of music on my hard drive right now. That is probably why my computer is running so badly.
honest. I can only, but it's like also like other things, like obviously like kind of getting into filmmaking and stuff like that, which
Oh
has been a real
wow.
blast. Which is the reason why I was down at the Edinburgh Film Festival,
Yeah.
and because that was the first of like three films I've done with guys called Bigger House Films,
Yeah.
and it reminds me that when we're like supposedly all able to meet up and stuff like that in the future, I've got to um, I've got to do a big Jeff musical.
Oh my God.
Like,
What?
and like anim
That's so cool.
stop motion like kind of a musical, but it's about certain things which like it's loosely based on things which I've been through. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's like about like like a young person who's like kind of maybe on the autism like kind of learning difficulties spectrum.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it's like about him processing grief and the fact that he develops like a kind of rap split personality,
Whoa. That sounds amazing. I
which
can't
is
wait to see it.
exactly what I did, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
20, so I was like, right, okay, how am I gonna, like kind of, I found that quite often I'd be like kind of, I was like, I had basically double things which happened where, like kind of, it's really hard to explain.
Uh-huh.
Partly because I don't always want to get people too down or feel too sad,
Oh, it's okay.
but I nearly died on the operating table from a appendicitis operation going really badly wrong, and
Whoa.
so I was like kind of um, I was put into a controlled coma for about 3 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, and like kind
That's
of had like
wild.
yeah, I spent like nearly a week in intensive care,
Wow.
and um,
That's a lot.
it was like kind of really intense. I
Mhm.
mean, I have to say that the night staff there were amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
The first night of intensive care was possibly one of the most terrifying things I'd ever been through because of like
Yeah.
I was like trying to sleep, but my head felt like as if I was constantly in a rave.
Whoa.
This is the first time that I'd ever been on any real drugs, so it's the first time
Oh
I've
my God.
been. So I was definitely like kind of when I say
Whoa.
properly tripping.
Yeah. But not in a fun way. Yeah, wow.
But then what happened is that I know that doctors were threatening with like kind of performing a tracheotomy on me. Like kind of
Yeah.
shoving a tube down my throat
Whoa.
to
Oh my
breathe
gosh.
properly.
Yeah.
And the night staff basically decided to put on some entertainment and basically, like Patch Adams theory, which is basically like if they knew that if they could like kind of entertain me,
Yeah.
they'd also slip in messages about breathing slowly, and then
Wow.
and there's like all this like kind of almost like subliminal subconscious kind of stuff. And so like the next morning when the doctor's coming round to like prepare me for the like tracheotomy, I was just sat bolt upright,
Whoa. What? That's amazing.
a grin on my face, going right, okay, I'm gonna get out of here today. Okay,
Wow.
get
That's
out.
such a
But
great story.
it's like it's truth about spirit though, isn't it?
Huh?
I think there's a certain truth about spirit. If you've got like
Yeah.
something which sends
Yeah.
you like a positive message, you're gonna go right. Your mindset goes from ooh, panic, scared to like, nope,
Yeah.
to do this.
I'm gonna do this. Yeah. That's so encouraging to
Yeah.
hear.
And
Yeah.
then like a few months later, because like my parents were living in I mean like, well, we're living in like, the house which I kind of grew up in.
Mhm.
They decided to sell half of it off to like a local family.
Mhm.
And this is in a village called Horsley. So if I'm very confusing at telling stories,
No, no. Not at all. I'm following clearly.
but yeah, the guy who was like the head of the family, he was working on like an anarchist theatre production, and he was like a lighting sound tech sort of thing, and
Uh-huh.
he collapsed with an aneurysm.
Whoa.
And then like he was like kind of put in a coma for like 2 weeks, I think it was,
Uh-huh.
before he unfortunately passed away,
Oh no.
sort of thing. But it was like so it was like almost like having a black cloud because it was having some two very close things
Yeah.
within like matter of about 4 months.
Whoa, yeah. And when did that happen?
So that would have been when I was 20. So that was like
Uh-huh.
2002.
Yeah, yeah.
So 2002, 2003. Because I think that he passed away would have been maybe April 2003 ish.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Still like a really kind of short amount of time.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so I basically had to kind of like found myself creating like a rap split personality called Manic F, which I used to like
Wow.
sometimes perform on stage with black and white face paint. And I would quite
Uh-huh.
have like a bottle of tomato ketchup because I would like to do like the kind of like pretend fake blood sort of thing.
Wow. My God, this is wild, and I did not know this, right?
I guess that's what I mean. Sometimes it's very difficult to tell people about your past. Like
Yeah.
I've never really asked you that many questions because
Uh-huh.
sometimes it is a bit scary when you're thinking of, oh God, what do I ask someone?
I guess so, but that's maybe because we usually talk at shows where we have like 5 minutes and it's really loud or whatever. And
Like in my case, it's 5 minutes and then I'm sprinting off to see someone else.
yeah, oh yeah, you do your like 3 gigs in a night, whatever.
I don't. Oh God, I can't. I mean, actually, I found with like obviously with lockdown with people doing live streams, sometimes it's
Oh yeah.
day.
Have you watched any? Like
I've,
can't I can't seem to remember that they're happening and actually watch them. I'm not good at it.
I've watched loads, but then that's partly because it's been like okay, with me with some of the artists, it's like okay, it's the nearest I'm going to get to see them play in
Yeah.
you don't know next year or so.
Yeah, I
And
know. It's good. It's really good to be keeping up with what everyone's doing. I think I just have like a bit of a screen fatigue,
yeah,
even though I love playing video games. I think when I'm watching a gig online, I just can't. I get distracted, I think. I
yeah,
do really want to watch. I think Future Islands are doing a live stream gig tonight, and I wanted to try and watch it, but I probably haven't got a ticket, so
yeah.
I probably meant to have had got a ticket.
Yeah, but then the thing is, though, is that actually you'll find that they'll still be selling tickets even 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of like because they don't put a cap on them.
Yeah,
They'll be like kind of. I mean, I know that some shows, some artists have put like deliberate specific caps on tickets,
yeah.
but I think that so long as they get some income from whatever they're doing,
I
really.
think Future Island's a very big band, so I'm sure they wouldn't put a cap on it. Um, we played some shows with them. Sacred Paws played some shows with them a few years ago, in Ireland, and it was so fun.
Wow.
That was like the one of the biggest shows I've ever played
Was that when Sam
for.
had become well known for his dancing?
Yeah, it was just after they like I don't know, he became a meme or whatever.
So
I can't remember what were they on, Jules Holland or something big? No, it was like
it was later, wasn't it? It was something
yeah, it was an American one. Yeah,
like
yeah.
David Letterman, I think it was.
Letterman, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
But then also, what was really funny is that I actually saw them play start the bus to about 5 people.
I know. I've been a Future Islands fan since the beginning, since their first record on Upset the Rhythm, and yeah, I've been at many Future Islands shows that were very empty, and I remember being like, why is this band not like massively popular? They're so good, and Sam is like one of the best performers I've ever seen. And it used to really baffle me. So when they suddenly blew up, I was like, well, yeah, why
Yeah,
didn't this happen like 10 years ago? I don't understand.
but sometimes it's just about luck, though, isn't it?
I know, it's so strange. Like they just had to have that TV kind of thing. And I think people like maybe now even have seen that and are like, okay, we need to get on TV because that's how
Yeah,
you suddenly make it, which isn't necessarily true. You have to also be amazing.
and also I think it's also like a testament to like sometimes putting in the hard work as well, and also if
I know, yeah, not giving up. Like there's many points in their career where they could have been like, oh, this band isn't really going anywhere, and they didn't because they love it and they believe in it, and they have always taken it very seriously. So I think that's like it's quite inspiring.
hmm,
And it's also really cool when the band has like yeah worked that hard, and then suddenly is successful because I mean successful, but like
yeah, popular.
playing huge stadiums, it's like you can tell how grateful they are and how much they're like reveling in the moment, and
Mm.
that's I think really special and like so nice to watch. Like you can really feel the kind of, not to be cheesy, but the love the
Yeah,
love in the room when they play because everyone's like, yeah, stars, and they're like, "Ah," like it's just I think I would. I can't imagine playing those kind of shows. I would probably be in tears every night, but it's
Same.
pretty overwhelming.
I think I'd be. I think I'd be exactly the same. I think I'd probably, knowing me, I'd be like, right, I'd probably end up like kind of like how I feel after every single time I've seen Low.
Yeah,
You know, like,
emotional.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is though, is that I think there's a certain thing with euphoria and there's different sounds how it can make people feel,
Yeah, yeah.
and so it's like, for instance, I could come and see one of your bands like in a playing and find myself dancing all over the place because like they could have captured this, but then you could go and see someone like black metal band like Sun, and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it's like walking into like a sonic sound bath.
Yeah, yeah.
I would describe,
Very different.
or like I think that's the thing is for me is that I think like speaking is from my perspective, a lot of live music's helped me understand emotions. I think.
Oh, really? Wow. That's cool. Yeah. Like that makes a lot of sense because what is live music if not like trading a trade-off of emotions and just like
Yeah,
yeah, like letting it all hang out. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I think it's partly true, but then it's like kind of how I made all my friends is basically turning up early to shows and just like
Yeah, yeah.
saying
Same.
saying maybe hello to one or two people, but
Yeah,
that become more and more and more and more.
yeah, yeah. Like a snowball.
Yeah,
That's so nice.
it's like as if a snow. Well, it's like as if like a snowflake which turns into an avalanche.
Yes. It makes me sad to think about shows, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Do you find live streams, do you go in the chat? Do you like
yeah.
say hi to people?
If I'm not like in a cooking or if I'm not eating dinner whilst I'm watching,
Yeah, okay.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I will do. I'll go
yeah. So
like
you have like been able to kind of socialize online a bit in that way.
a little bit, but but it's not the same as seeing people's faces.
No, not, yeah.
Because like
It's the same.
like as if in like okay, I might not be physically in the same room as you, but I'm able to see your face.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot. There's a that in saying that helps the conversation a lot more.
Yeah,
I'm actually able to see people's faces.
yeah, sure.
But then like sometimes I've been on like for instance specialist subjects. They were doing like a whole series of live streams on like it'd be every
Oh
Tuesday night.
yeah. Yeah.
I'd go on
They
the
were I did watch some of them. They were really nice. Yeah.
yeah, I'd go into the comments and I literally know everybody who's pretty much there. So I was like,
That's so nice. Yeah.
joke about this person. Like, okay, here you go.
But that's cool. I mean, I think like a lot of people have said also that live streams, whilst they're never going to be the same as
Mm.
proper gigs, like they are, the nature of them is really accessible,
Yeah,
like to like anyone because we're all at home now. So that's kind of one plus side to them, I guess. But do you find like, I mean, you went to so many shows, you go to so many shows, like you obviously don't find accessibility like a hurdle, but I don't know. Do you think?
to a certain extent, but maybe not in always really obvious ways.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, like for me, that there's still some parts of Bristol that I haven't really been to.
Yeah.
Of and I think that what has helped, like we explore places like cities, is finding where the venues are and going and literally kind of looking
Yeah.
at during
Yeah.
the daytime, so I could then work out like a route or like
Right. Yeah.
if I was coming to a show in London which I do once in a blue moon,
Yeah.
like kind of finding out where the nearest tube station is or something like that.
Yeah. But I'm always so impressed when you come to London for shows because that's like a lot of
Yeah,
effort.
well, that's partly because like I don't have to be something during the daytime. So like,
Right, yeah.
oh, you with Sacred Pause like last year,
Hmm.
because I was having a meeting with Independent Venue Week people, and then I was just like, right, okay, look, I happen to be in town. Let's see what shows up.
Yeah. But then you'll like go and see three shows in one night though.
No, I'll go and no. Usually it's just the one gig.
With one, okay.
Spend like 3 hours procrastinating over which one it'll be.
Yeah, okay.
But but quite often, like I was saying, like I'll go, but quite often, like I said, from the first class things, I haven't really been to London that much. You know,
Mm,
um, so that's partly because I guess a lot of things, especially arts wise, if they come to London, then they're probably going to come to Bristol.
right, yeah.
You know,
That's cool.
performance wise, sort of things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. In Glasgow, a lot of the time people don't come up to Glasgow to play shows when they're doing a tour of the UK, and it's really annoying.
It's a bit,
Maybe it's changing a bit, but there used to be a thing, like for some reason, especially American bands were like, "Oh no, it's too far." It's like
it's,
it's not far.
yeah,
Like in American terms, it's not far at all. So
I know. Well, to be honest, I mean, like you hear stuff from like people's like road and tour diaries, and it's like, okay, in America,
yeah,
they'll be driving 12, 13 hours
yeah,
to
it's
get to
not it's just
the road.
normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So I
that's.
don't know why people don't come to Glasgow because it's the best.
I think the thing is, though, it's also that it must be really frustrating for like the small towns as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like outside of like
Yeah, places like York and like yeah.
because of like you'd obviously have to go to like the bigger cities to go to the shows because obviously like because I grew up in Gloucestershire, so obviously
Mhm.
so like the nearest place was Bristol, really.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in the countryside. Um my nearest place where people would play shows is Brighton, but that was like still almost an hour away
Yeah,
from where I actually grew up. So I didn't get to go to gigs at all when I was a kid. Um but yeah, I mean I don't expect bands to come to like tiny places though.
no,
It's just yeah, it's like
but I mean,
one
but,
part of not living in a big city.
but then when you're not. But what I meant by that is if they're avoiding doing Glasgow, could you imagine how much of Scotland they're missing off?
Exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
Like
do think there's a slight like in yeah, when you play in America, I do find people more often will say, "Oh, we traveled like 3 hours to come to the show," and you'll be really like, "Whoa, who are
yeah,
these like super fans?" But actually, it's just normal. That's what they have to do to get to shows because they live in a town that's too far away from
yeah,
anywhere. Um, and that's like I don't know. It's just like culturally considered a bit more normal. I feel, whereas in the UK, it is a bit more like people be a bit grumpy. They'll be like, "Why didn't you come to Portsmouth?" It's like, well,
yeah,
you could have maybe driven
yeah.
to Brighton, or like you could have come to London.
Or
Like,
got the train or something.
but yeah, but then again, like that's not accessible for everyone. So I do think it's nice if you have the time to like do tours where you can include some smaller towns. Um, I wonder if the pandemic is going to mean if we if we ever can tour again, it might just all be on very much more local terms. So like we are playing like doing a tour of Scotland and like playing like Dundee and like smaller places. Um, I
People,
would be kind of into that.
I think people would really revel in it. I think as well.
Yeah, it could be really fun.
Because
Yeah.
what I found myself doing is that as I've been attending socially distanced gigs.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Wow. Tell me about that. I'm so curious.
basically, it's just been table service gigs. So basically,
Right. Okay.
you can like book a table and
Yeah.
you show from your table, basically.
Right.
And, yeah, most. I mean, it's mostly been the lanes in Bristol which have been doing them so far,
Yeah.
and they've been
Are they outside or
no, they're inside.
inside? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because of like
Wow.
um, the lanes are standing venues like 350 capacity, but
Yeah.
they also operate as a pizzeria during the daytime, so they've already got the tables and chairs,
Uh-huh. Yeah, that works pretty well, yeah.
and yeah, they've been getting some really good local bands playing.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
Having like stuff like Witch Elm, who I really love,
Uh-huh.
Slack Heap, who are brilliant.
Oh yeah. I was really sad because we were meant to play with them um in London.
Yeah,
Oh no, maybe we're meant to come back to Bristol and play with them. Yeah, oh, I'm
place
sad.
supposed to be playing the Louisiana, I think it was.
Huh?
I think you're due to play the Louisiana,
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
which is one of my favourite venues. Well, my
I know
favourite.
it's cool. Yeah.
I know
Oh,
they actually named the wrist stamp after me. So
really?
you could have had my name put on your wrist
Oh my God, you're so cool. What?
That's the place which I probably hang out the most. You know.
Yeah, you're the like yeah, the most frequent gig goer in Bristol.
Well, yeah. Well, it's also like if not the most, definitely one of the most.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
they I mean they're getting by just about at the moment because they're doing well they've turned themselves into a pizzeria, and it's but
Wow.
their pizzas are amazing because
Great.
it.
Okay.
It's also really funny that they actually have a link with Italian football because of the Scalacci name. Because of
Oh,
like,
really? I
yeah,
don't know anything about football.
so, well, it's basically like, yeah, I think it's Gianni who owns the place. I think it's his cousin was Toto Scalacci. He played in the Italian '90 World Cup.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
for a random fact, so
I'm just like, whenever someone starts talking about football, I'm just like, I just
fair,
glaze over. I'm sorry.
that's pretty fair enough, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, that place has been going for 33 years, 34 years. So,
Wow.
the oldest
Yeah.
family run venue in Bristol.
Really? Wow. That's
I
so
mean,
cool.
but it's, yeah, they've definitely taken me under their wing a bit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's really nice.
I kind of feel like as if they almost treat me like a bit of furniture. So they probably me the next time they go down there.
That's nice, though. That's
Yeah,
nice to be a bit of furniture.
well,
That's
it's also,
awesome.
I think it's partly because I remember like kind of, the first time I went there was like 2001.
Wow.
That's nearly 20 years ago.
Whoa.
That was to see the Cooper Temple Claws.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, that was Jesus Christ. That was 21. That was like 20 years ago.
Wild.
How times have changed.
Uh,
It's craziness. But I mean, like, but it's also like looking at, you know, 'cause also I do take quite a bit of like pride if I see sometimes a band go from like doing really small things to being really huge. And
yeah.
I mean,
It's cool to be like, I was there when they were
yeah,
I was the only person in the audience.
I was there when they were absolutely terrible. You know, like I mean, I say this, bringing this up because of obviously like Idols were due to like gonna do like a big arena tour next year, sort of
Mm.
thing. And I think weren't you down to be supporting them in a couple of their shows?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember literally seeing them play to like 4 or 5 people.
Really? Wow. I've never seen them.
They're all right. They're like kind of I'm not sure how to put them into words, but
I mean, I've seen them on TV. I've seen them do Jules Holland.
I,
But it's very different. I feel like it's weird watching that kind of band on TV because you watch it and you're like, you can kind of judge it from afar, but like that's not the point of that music. Do you know what I mean? Like you kind of need to be there, I feel.
did.
So I couldn't get it. I didn't really get it, but it's very nice that they asked us to play with them.
Yeah, I think that's because I think Dev really likes your stuff. He's the
That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they all seem very nice, like very nice people.
yeah, no, Dev, well, there was a 2 year, like 2 or 3 year period where I did try and avoid them. Couldn't because it would be like, right, if they weren't playing the gig, they would either be working behind the bar, sort of thing.
That's nice though.
And yeah, no, I mean, like that's the one I get on with the most. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's partly
Cool.
he's the person I see out the most, but
Yeah,
it's also, like in terms of like emotionally, I think he's someone I get on with more
yeah, yeah.
than some of the others.
Cool.
But I mean, yeah, it's really weird, kind of like going like I remember seeing them supporting Pyle, and literally there was about 3 or 4 people in the audience
Wow. Yeah.
last year seeing them play Ali Pali.
That's yeah, that's wild. That's
Where
huge.
where I found myself being stood next to Stephen Mack because I was
That's
like
funny.
I was like in the audience, kind of drawing away. All of a sudden, I felt a punch on my arm. Turned around, there was Stephen Mack with a massive grin, kind of like coming in to give me a hug.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Also, he's tiny as well.
Yeah, you're like twice the size of him.
Yeah, it was kind of like I almost had to kind of bend over, sort of thing.
Big Jeff and little Steve.
Yeah, I've actually been on. Well, I've been on his radio show a couple of times now.
Yeah, cool.
I think
That's
first,
you're a radio pro these days.
I'm not really. I just myself. My proness will be tested tomorrow morning. Yeah. I think if Michael starts to go on about politics, I'll be like, it's like just stick to the trade stuff. That'll be fine. I mean, because he's going on like I think promoting a new book that he's supposedly written. I used
Oh,
to
really?
like,
He's ghostwritten, yeah.
of course it was. I mean, like, I think the thing is that, I mean, like, it made me think about, like, kind of. Did you ever think about writing a book of some of your stories?
Um, well, no, but I do want to make a comic book one day, like a graphic novel. Because my mum actually draws, she's an illustrator, and so is my brother. They both draw comics. So I grew up reading comics like a lot.
Uh,
Um, and yeah, me and my mum have always had this plan to like do a comic like book about touring. Um, and we did kind of start it one time when I got back from my first American tour. I had like written loads,
well,
and she started drawing some of it. Um, but we never I got a bit she drew one thing. She didn't tell me about it. And then it was in an exhibition because she was in an exhibition of female comic book artists a few years ago.
mm,
And, I was like, cool, you can use my script, but you have to change the names because they're real people. And she didn't change the names.
ah, right, okay.
And it was very obviously me and the people who I played in the band with at the time, and I was very embarrassed by it. But no one really saw. I mean, occasional people who I know that are like comic book people
Mm,
went to that show, and they were like, "I think I saw you."
yeah, actually,
Like, I'm pretty sure it was you, and it was drawn by someone that has your second name. I was like, "Yep, that's my mom. Thanks, mom."
that reminds me of actually one of my favourite hackles at one of your gigs, which was at Roll for the Soul, and my friend Joff, who's also a graphic novelist.
Yes, he knows my mom. Joff is so cool. Yeah. I love that certain people that they'll out themselves as comic book people when they have met my mom, because she knows a lot of people in that scene.
But
Um, yeah,
he's definitely one of those people where he will literally lift an entire room,
he's
if
so
you know what I
cool.
mean.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mean, like with the short films that I've made, he's someone that I've been working with.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
I know. And it's also like kind of really exciting to see him doing kind of pretty well at the moment.
Yeah,
He had
yeah.
this first graphic novel turned into a feature film.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Whoa.
It was
Is it? How do I watch it?
it's
Can
on
is
it's
it
on it's online. It's like
really
you have to like pay for the stream sort of thing. But
great?
it's they've got Nick Cave's son playing playing like the lead character.
What?
And it's
Wow.
yeah, Simon Bird from In Betweeners. It's like him and his
Wow.
wife are basically
What is the name of the film?
Days of the Bagnalled Summer.
Yes, okay. I've heard of that. Yeah. I didn't know that was.
That's Joff's book.
Hang on. I read his book and I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, that's him.
What? That's wild. How did I manage that? I got that book out of the library when I lived in London. That's so weird, and I didn't even connect the dots that that was Joff.
That's the reason why that heckle happened.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he drew comics. I just didn't know.
Yeah,
I love Bucky also. They just put
man.
their discography online, haven't they?
Yeah, because they did that for like Bandcamp Day, didn't
Yeah,
they?
that's cool. I need to get that.
I love Bucky to pieces. I think my favorite
Yeah.
Bucky story involves them and the President of the United States of America.
Wait, what?
You know the band, the Pusics. They were really friends. Because of Simon, who's in Bucky, used to be like their guitar tech. Because Joff's brother it was the drummer for Cooler Shaker.
Oh, I did know that. Yeah.
So like they toured quite a lot with the presidents of the United States of America in the mid 90s.
That's so funny. I just when you said that, I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Imagining like Bucky and Donald Trump somehow
uh,
interacting. I
and,
was like, "Oh." I didn't know there was a band called that.
yeah, did you not know that? In the
No,
90s, they were like kind of
no.
they had some really big hits. So
Okay,
they had like
take
songs
your word for it.
like Lump and Kitty, and then a song called
Right.
Peaches. But they were playing like the O2 Academy in Bristol,
Mhm.
and they had like Kid Carpet as their main support, who's also another
Mhm.
brilliant Bristol artist. And
Yeah.
they originally wanted to try and get Bucky on the bill, but all the support slots were basically filled up. So what
Uh
they
huh.
did was that the presidents played their main set, then went off for the encore, wheeled on a guitar amp and a miniature drum kit, and then basically played High Fido with
Wow.
Bucky.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's a really cool way to use your platform.
I
I
know.
love it. That's
Well,
very chaotic.
yeah, and but it like sums it up as well.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mind you, the last
Just kind of like anarchy.
yeah, well, it's like the last time I saw the presidents, they ended up writing like a in about a minute and a half, writing a like a kind of minute and a half song about me.
Wow.
Because
What? That's so cool.
a lot of their songs are basically about stuffed animals or about kind of random people which they've met.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so literally, I remember like kind of because of not having money for a ticket for their show, like I do the usual thing of like hanging out around by the tour bus or like kind of
Yeah,
like kind of if especially the bigger venue, asking if I can come in, sort of thing. Not
yeah.
not wanting to be like too over like, oh, I'm Mr. Important. I ended up bumping it, like meeting the singer, and he's really lovely. Uh,
Yeah,
and yeah, he said, yeah, it's like so like he got me to write down my name, sort of thing, for him,
yeah.
stick it on the list. Next thing I know, he's written a full, 2-minute long song,
That's really great. Wow,
meeting
good
me out in the
story.
parking lot and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. I
Yeah,
like that. Just turning up to shows. I used to do a lot of that as well when I didn't have money for shows. I'd just go stand outside and be
yeah,
like, "I'm going to get." I'd just be like, "I'm going to get it."
well, yeah.
Positive affirmation or whatever.
But it was like sometimes I would get so obsessed by over it that I would end up like completely starving.
Oh no, that's not good.
No, but I mean
No.
like, but then that's when the OCD kind of like
Yeah. Okay.
come in. When I
Yeah. Yeah.
having a like obsessive compulsive
Yeah,
disorder.
you know, like, no, I need to go to this
Yeah,
show. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, no, I get that.
it's been like like kind of I like one of my favorite places to hang out was also Roll for the Soul.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That
still
place is great. It's not a venue anymore, is it?
it's not a venue
No.
anymore. Well, Rob, I think he decided to like kind of set it up like after about 5 years because to be
Mhm.
honest, he didn't really intend it to be a venue. It
Yeah.
just turned into that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I can imagine that situation. Someone's like, "Can we do a gig here?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess." It's like, "Oh, now we're a venue."
Yeah, well, there's also the fact that they were getting obviously lots of noise complaints sort of thing.
Complaints. I know. I remember that being a real like trying to book shows there and it being like, "Oh, we're not sure." Yeah. Played a really fun show there with Trash Kit though.
Yep,
I
I
remember
remember
it
that one.
being quite wild.
Yeah, I think I was there for that one. I think.
Yeah, and what was that really good band called? Oh no, forgotten their name. They had a tape that had bananas on it.
That sounds brilliant.
They were really good.
Like
Oh well,
the Annies or something. Because
uh,
cause I
gone
always,
out of my brain.
I always with certain venues have certain spots which I'd stand in. Like I'd always find myself stood in like the kind of almost in the doorway to the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
Because
spot. Yeah, I know what
like,
you mean.
it's partly because then obviously I could still be down the front. And like
But you're not blocking people.
yeah, exactly.
Very considerate. I know. I see you.
To be honest,
You're a you're a considerate audience member.
it's like I try to like kind of like I'll try and hide behind like the speaker stand sort of thing. I wouldn't exactly hide me, you know.
No, that's good. I think like it must be difficult being a tall person that also really loves to be down the front at shows because I am short, but I also like I can't handle being at the back at a show. Like I hate it. I hate not being able to see, and I don't understand the point of being in the room if you're not at the front. But
Yeah.
obviously, not everyone can be at the front, so it's a difficult one.
I mean, like, so it's like, for instance, like Louisiana, I would always tuck myself in on the left hand side.
Yeah, you've got your like
Like,
spots where you can go.
and so it's strange. I mean, the police used to have a stone named after me because it
Wow.
would be almost the precise spot that I would stand at every single show. And it was like basically right in front, it was like, there was this huge pillar basically right in front of the stage. I'd go and basically squeeze myself in between the pillar and the stage.
Yeah.
And
That's also funny for bands who play there regularly because they'll look over at that spot and be like, "Oh, Jeff's not here."
I don't know, but the thing is that sometimes it's partly 'cause I like getting to shows too late. So
Yeah, yeah.
someone else stood there. I'm not going to barge them out of the way, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's you got
But
to get your spot early, right?
yeah, but if someone else has taken it, then fair enough. Someone else has taken it, you know. But yeah, that spot was, I think, remained there for about 2 years until someone had to tell, like, I think it was someone like Pierce the Veil basically turned up with a whole load of like confetti cannons, and they had that, which meant that they had to like kind of basically deep
Sweep
clean.
under.
Well, no,
Yeah.
jets with jet water sort of thing, but
Oh
actually
my
clean
God, yeah.
to end up washing off the paint from the stone.
Oh, that's sad. You should
Yeah,
reinstall it when they reopen.
yeah. I hope they can reopen. To be honest, I mean,
Mm,
like,
I know.
it's
I
all a
don't
bit
know.
touch and go with some of the venues.
I really don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah,
I mean,
it's a hard.
I'm actually going to another socially distanced gig tonight.
Are you?
I'm,
Nice.
I'm going down to Bridgewater of all places.
Okay.
There's a really great kind of alternative punk band called Brasher
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
who are playing down there, and
Oh.
it's one of the few. It's partly because of my friend who's got children, and she kind of like her son set up a scene called the Pint Sized Punk,
Uh-huh.
and so he's like 10 years old. So like
Oh
no,
my god,
all
that's so
the
cool.
not all the venues like the lanes aren't all ages, so
Hmm.
he's not really allowed into them. So they're like, hang on, look, Brush are doing a show at in Bridgewater.
Yeah.
We'll go down and see them.
How do you deal with, because you dance, you move around a lot when you're at shows. How do you manage to sit down and watch a,
I still,
does it feel weird?
I just move around in my seat.
It's like, yeah.
You can get me to sit down, but you can't get me to sit still. I mean, like, it's it's,
It is. I'm glad. No, it's good. That's
it's
reassuring to know.
like going to shows at the Cube, like the Cube
Yeah.
cinema sort of thing. It's like I'll
Yeah.
still be sat down, but I won't be sat still. Because no, I mean, as soon as rhythm kicks in, like I'll be down,
That's
basically doing seats
yeah.
dancing.
That's reassuring. I mean, I know. I can imagine. I can't imagine you watching a show and not moving. And I also can relate. That's how. If I'm enjoying the show, I'm going to be moving,
Yeah,
dancing.
well, of course, because like if you think about it, it's like it's nice if, especially if you're in tune with like rhythm and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
then like I find it like kind of I find myself also. This is gonna sound like really weird, but sometimes I second guess what people are singing.
What,
'Cause,
like lyrics?
yeah, sometimes I've been able to second guess the entire band, like in my entire band's songs.
Wow.
Actually,
Maybe it's because you just listen to so much music.
yeah, or like tonally, rhythmically, you go like, "All right, this is gonna be like fall into X, Y, Z kind of like category sort of thing."
Yeah, yeah.
But it's kind of like it's quite amazing when like some. I remember like I was speaking to someone. Can't remember his name right at the top of my tongue. But I remember he said to me, Douglas Dare it was,
Mhm.
and he said to me that I attended a show of one of his bands when they played in Bristol like many years ago, and he said they found it really confusing staring out at me because I was singing along to all the songs.
And you're like singing along to songs that you've never heard before.
Exactly, yeah,
That's really nice though, that because I think that is like the spirit of, in my mind, like punk or just like community and like gigs being participatory, like you're involved, and I think that's really nice. And singing along doesn't have to just be like a a thing that super fans do who've gone
no,
home and memorized all the words. It's like you can just join in. Why not?
yeah. I mean, like, so I find quite often if there's more than one person singing, like in a band or like especially when it comes up to chorus, I will always join in. So
Yeah.
the birthday, I've given like a third harmony or something, like and or like just trying to think of a situation where it's happened where I've literally throw people off because I would literally accurately second guess some of the
But
lyrics.
that's kind of like also like a folk tradition thing as well. Like when
Mm.
you go to folk clubs as opposed to indie venues or whatever, it's really normal to be like, okay, and these are the words to the chorus,
Yeah.
and teach everyone it quickly before you do the song so that they can join in. And like that's a really normal thing within the folk community.
Mm.
But like as soon as, yeah, when you're in an indie band or a punk band, as soon as you see someone singing along, you're like, what? Who is that? And where do they? How do they know our music?
Especially when,
And so I can understand it throwing people off a bit.
especially when it's someone like my size as well.
Yeah.
But then also
I
like,
get really when people sing along. People don't. People do it with shopping a lot because the lyrics are quite simple.
mm.
But yeah, people sing along, and then I always get the lyrics wrong when people are singing along because I get really self-conscious, and then I'm really like, oh no, and they know that I've got them wrong because they know them.
Yeah, but they probably also look at it and laugh as well. Because I think that's, I mean,
Mm.
like, 'cause I think one of the things which I also missed for quite a while, and this is like someone who's like a very like kind of touchy person. I
Hmm.
missed giving people hugs.
I know, me too.
I missed like,
It was so weird, like when the couple shows that we did do with shopping, before everything was cancelled, we were all trying to not hug people because it's like don't shake people's hands, don't hug people.
Yeah,
Um, and it was so difficult. You suddenly realize, like, at shows, like, I don't know, probably hug like 100 people.
yeah,
Like, just like really normal. It's like a normal reflex when someone comes up and says thank you for the show.
yeah,
And sometimes it's nice when people will say like, "Can I give you a hug?"
yeah,
That's nice. Because I guess just hugging someone you don't know without asking them maybe is a bit weird, but it doesn't always feel weird if you've just shared like a very intense musical thing and like you're all really hyped. It's like so nice. Yeah, I really miss it. Ugh.
yeah. So it's like kind of been really weird getting used to doing elbow pumps.
Yeah. I mean that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can
It's
imagine
not.
it's not the same. But could you imagine like being the singer of like a kind of I guess like a pop punk band or like a hip hop artist, like trying to high elbow everyone down the front row. The amount of people which you could accidentally kind of like knock out by accident.
That's not gonna work. Yeah, you gotta have a replacement for like.
Yeah,
Yeah, what could you do instead? I don't know.
I mean you can fist pump, but
Just like an air high five, I think. It's like you don't actually touch.
it's still like I think like for a lot of people it's still like kind of discovering or like having to rediscover their new boundaries.
Yeah, I know it's really weird. And sometimes I'll meet a friend and forget for a second and go in to hug them and be like, "Whoa!" They'll step away, like, "What are you doing?" Uh,
Well, I've probably hugged about just trying to think 5 or 6 people.
yeah,
You know, in
yeah,
the past like 2 or 3 months. One of them's
yeah.
definitely been my mum because come on, you could always
You
hug
have
your
you gotta
parents.
hug your mum. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, and it's like it's if in you know the one people it's like the mum and dad are usually the people who are like guaranteed to give you some form of warmth.
yeah, yeah,
And like I've hugged the last person I hugged was let me think who was the last person I hugged? I think Dev was one of the last people I hugged
yeah.
for mine. But then like it's really weird. So it's like case of obviously seeing friends, but then it's like okay, I'm still a little uncertain as to how to interact with people again.
Yeah, I know, and it makes you. I feel way more nervous, like just a normal, like meeting someone for a coffee is weird.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's really tough, and I'm trying to find a balance between like being like a hermit,
mm,
just and hanging out because I really love my own company. I'm happy to hang out in
yeah,
the flat, and also my girlfriend's here, so we're sort of like just chilled together. But I know that I need to socialize, but I do find it scary because I'm like not I'm not used to doing it outside of a gig context anyway, really. And B, it's like everything has changed. It's like, oh great.
yeah. But then there's also like as if it's made me realise, I guess. You know, I'm going to bring up idols again, but they've got like a fan group called the AF Gang,
Uh-huh.
um, which I'm a part of, and
Yeah.
they've been great because like every like kind of week we've been doing like kind of Zoom calls to each other, you know,
It's
checking in
great.
on each other, and then like for instance, for a couple of weeks we've been going down to like the Louisiana for like their pub quiz, and then
Mhm.
like the other Saturday when just to celebrate Idols having #1 record, they basically
Yeah,
booked out, you know, a
yeah.
section of the kind of ground floor.
That's really nice. Like I
Of
feel
people,
like I haven't really like engaged with that kind of online socializing um because it all feels too new to me, but
yeah.
I think that sounds really positive
No,
and so nice that idols can like provide that space.
well, I think it's not just so much Idols; it's more the fans. You know,
Yeah, they like self-organized it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They basically just went, look, you know, we're going through lockdown, so it's like kind of it took like kind of one guy to organise maybe 12 of us on the Zoom call, 10, 12 on
Yeah,
this sort of thing, and
that's really nice.
sometimes you just need like those little things just to perk you up a little bit.
Yeah,
I
totally.
hope
Yeah.
these perk some people up, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's perking me up talking to you.
Same here, you know.
It's really
It's
nice.
sort of waking me up as well. Which
Same.
I think the amount of times which people have spoken to me when I've been half asleep or too scared to even speak to some people.
Well, you're not scared to speak to me, I know that.
Yeah. Uh, but I mean, in doing these stuff, I've also got to talk to people like Anna Meredith, who I never ever thought I'd ever talk to.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's
Or, like,
great.
yeah, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I made the mistake the other day of like kind of, well, the other week, of like trying to listen to a record before going to bed. So
Oh no, no.
big
That's way
mistake.
too like
Yeah,
intense.
took me about 3 hours to calm down. Yeah,
It's like dun, 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 dun.
and I think
That
that's.
song is amazing.
But I think the thing is, it's partly because of like, because of like having slightly synesthetic things. Like,
Yeah,
I find that that record makes all parts of my brain light up.
yeah, yeah. No, don't listen to that before you go to sleep.
But I mean, like, I remember chatting to her, and it's been like, kind of, I feel like, so I think she might have like synesthesia or something.
Oh, that would
Like,
surprise me.
she's got a very cinematic way of visualizing things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
so cool.
before she writes any piece of music, she has to visualize how it's going to sound,
Yeah, yeah.
sort of thing.
I think that's quite normal, but like it's really hard to describe, isn't it? Like that sort of way, the way that the place that your brain goes to when you're creating something and when
Yeah,
you're thinking about music, because music's so kind of intangible, like it's hard to get a grip on sometimes, you know. Um, and it's so, yeah, it's really fascinating to me when people are like, no, no, I see purple. And you're like, oh, okay. I don't have that. Like, I'm definitely aware that like my brain goes to a specific place, but it's always really hard to describe what
yeah,
I'm thinking about or like what a melodies definitely look, I can see them, but I
mm,
couldn't like draw it, you know, because that's why it's a melody and not a
yeah.
drawing.
That's understandable. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I had to like stop like listening to my iPod because it was causing me to have too many vivid hallucinations.
Whoa.
So because I'm like,
Wow.
I'd get really into like certain records, sort of thing, but then like when you're in something, like, actually, I found myself, like kind of almost kind of getting into so many accidents because I wouldn't be aware of where I was
No.
walking entirely.
Yeah. I feel like when I was a kid and like a teenager, I used to listen to my iPod or my like my CD Walkman.
Yeah,
Um, I used to like listen to it like under the covers at night, and now that seems like an insane thing to do because like I would probably just didn't sleep very much. I think it's probably why I was like, you know, just a teenager and I slept in the daytime. But yeah, I just like spent so many hours at night like listening to music just with my eyes closed,
I think I'd
which is
listen.
weird to think about now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd do pretty much the same, really. I'd have like
Yeah,
a set Walkman sort of thing, and I remember like kind of obviously I'd either be listening to albums or to story tapes.
yeah,
Actually, story
yeah,
tapes are really good because they're very good for like firing off the imagination.
yeah. But you don't find it that like makes you feel really awake as well?
A little bit, but then actually I probably drift up into my own dreamland.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice.
And like say for because like I actually really struggle with reading,
Yeah,
and I think that's partly because of sometimes when you come to like reading a book, it's like
yeah,
it, you're like kind of having to process, take in quite a lot of, I guess, information in a weird way.
yeah, yeah.
But um, whereas when you're hearing someone reading it out, it
Mm-hmm.
it kind of dictates to a certain extent like the character, and you can visualize a lot more.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a different way of like receiving the information. and processing it. Yeah, I weirdly I find sometimes like I switch off into an audiobook or something. It will be happening, and then my mind will wander, and I'm like, oh no, wait, what
Yeah.
just happened? um, but yeah, that's interesting.
Then you can always rewind the tape and play it again.
Yeah, but I mean, how long
Exactly.
are you gonna spend doing that? But that's why I like comic books though, because it's like
Yeah.
when you read comics, it's kind of like a movie, but
Mm.
you go at your own pace,
Yeah.
and you like sort of you almost are a character within it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can, see,
Yeah,
I can definitely like kind of relate to that as well because I've definitely kind of bought myself a couple of like kind of graphic novels sort of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Especially
I've
of
like,
well, especially getting both the Jobs books sort of thing.
well, now that I know he wrote that book.
He also wrote Driving Short Distances was his latest book,
Uh-huh.
but he's midway through working on his third book at the moment.
Great.
So
Wow.
whenever he's not working on that, because I was speaking to him this morning,
Yeah,
we were doing
you
like
were
a
doing
kind
a
of
film.
yeah a little bit to like disability to like art conferencey thing in for Cardiff Animation Festival.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean like, but yeah, he's definitely. But I find myself reading like both of the books and going like, yep, I can exactly relate to all the characters.
Yeah,
I know where
great.
because he's got like a insane way that he basically like almost photographs entire conversations
Yeah. Wow.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
I've got to read more. Jeff, I might have to go because I have to do another. Weirdly, I have to do another interview. This doesn't normally happen, but
Well, hey,
um,
who's the interview with?
well, okay. So it's not an interview. I just have to. It's for BBC actually,
Well, hey.
um, but not the. It's for BBC Sounds, and I'm doing it with Thurston Moore.
Oh, that's
Um, but they have to they have to call me and test the line at 3. So I have
that's
to
a bit
get
like I had
ready.
that. I had that yesterday. When
Yeah, exactly. You know the deal with the BBC.
of course, well, come on,
Because we're professional podcasters or whatever.
I'm I'm on the BBC all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
It should be not Great British Broadcasting Corporation. It's like Big Jeff Broadcasting. Hey,
BJBC. I would listen to that.
yeah, that'd be fun. But yeah, so you're doing the thing with Thurston Moore.
um, yeah, I don't really know what it is. I think it's just going to be probably similar to this, like a little chat. But yeah, I'm really sorry.
It's completely fine. To be honest, we've been on here for quite a while. So it's
Yeah, I just didn't know because we had all those problems at the beginning. I hope you've got enough.
oh no, you've got more than enough. Trust me. I mean, like it wasn't as bad. It didn't go as like as long as like when trying to chat to Kate Stables, where we end up having to re-record the entire thing. That
Really? Oh
chat
no.
for 5 hours.
Oh, whoa. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
but
nice.
it's lovely. Thank you for your time, though, Rachel.
No,
Thank
no problem. No problem at all. Thanks for thinking of me, and it's really nice to see you.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can be back in one of your shows, dancing around like
Oh
a
my God. Yeah, we pray to the COVID gods.
fingers crossed. Or even if you do like find like ways of doing either like a kind of live stream gig or like kind of doing some sort of socially distanced sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll see. I really don't know. Um, yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, look
Um,
after yourself,
but
right?
yeah, and good luck with all your film things and the
Yeah,
art stuff. Will you send me a picture of the shopping painting?
yeah, Woody. I think
That's so exciting.
I'll try and find one. Um,
Okay.
ASA like kind of because I know it's up on my Facebook somewhere. There's
Hmm.
definitely like I've definitely posted up pictures of it before.
I know. I think I've seen it. Yeah. I
Yeah,
would like to see the finished
yeah,
framed thing.
but yeah, thank
Cool.
you very much.
Okay. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Good day.
Bye. You too.
Yeah.